Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, welcome to all the devotees to our Bhakti Shastri class. So, before we start our discussion, we can recite the Mangalacharan prayers. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Jana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadat Swapada Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuttapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavansya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakantam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabhandhu Jagat Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Panglungam Payate Girim Yat Kripatam Ham Vande Sri Gurun Dinataranam Ramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hare Krishna. So today we are going to start our discussion in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Raja Vidya, Raja Gurya Yoga, or the most confidential knowledge. We may ask questions like why this particular chapter is entitled the most confidential knowledge. If you remember, in the very beginning of our discussion from the chapter 7, there I was slightly mentioning that there is Guhyam, and then there is Guhyatara and Guhyatama. So the purport of that, the explanation of that, we can find in the Srila Prabhupada's purport to the first verse of this chapter, where he explained about Guhyam means confidential. So that's like at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, including the first chapter, even the first chapter. Actually, it starts from second chapter because it talks about Samkhya philosophy. So that is Guhyam, considered to be confidential. And then chapter 7 and 8 considered to be Guhyatara, more confidential. And then this chapter is considered to be Guhyatamam, or most confidential. So we will see that explanation by Srila Prabhupada in the first verse of this chapter. Actually, there are a lot of similarities between chapter 9 and chapter 7. So chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. In the 8th chapter, Krishna has explained that the Ananya devotee surpasses both the path of light and darkness. Now Krishna will explain how to become such an Ananya devotee. The first step is hearing about Krishna. So the first 3 verses will talk about the qualification and disqualification of hearing. If you remember, in the 7th chapter, Krishna talks about relationship between himself and material nature, para and apara prakriti. In the beginning, Krishna talks about hearing also, where he mentioned to Arjuna, Tachinam, means hear from me. And then Krishna's potency manifested within matter. We discussed this also in the chapter 7. Demigod worship and Krishna worship. Impersonal is also touched in the 7th chapter. And then impersonal is knowledge of Krishna versus devotee's knowledge of. So here it is. Why 9th chapter is entitled the most confidential knowledge? Why not chapter 7 if there are a lot of similarities between the two? So here is Srila Prabhupada's purport. The very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, is more or less an introduction to the rest of the book. And in the 2nd and 3rd chapters, the spiritual knowledge described is called confidential. And then topic discussed in the 7th and 8th chapters are specifically related to devotional service. And because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness, they are called more confidential. So this is Guhyam, Guhyatara, and Guhya Uttamam. Yeah, Guhyatamam. But the matters which are described in the 9th chapter deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Therefore, this is called the most confidential. One who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. Yeah. He therefore has no material pangs, although he is in the material world. So both actually, 9th chapter and 10th chapter, they are situated exactly in the middle of the book. There are 18 chapters, so 9 and 10 are situated in the very middle of the book. And whatever most confidential, naturally kept in the safest place, in the heart of the book, you can say like that. Okay. So this is the glimpse of our discussion today up to 19th chapter. Up to 19th verse. So 1 to 3, hearing about Krishna, what are the qualifications and disqualifications? Krishna will talk about that. And then text number 4 to 10, Krishna's inconceivable relationship with the material world. So here Krishna will explain about his Aishwarya Gyan. And then 11 to 19, non-worshippers versus worshippers. Krishna will talk about demigod worshippers and also the impersonalities also. So text number 1. Yeah. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Idam Tute Guhyatamam Pravakshyam Jnanasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajyatva Mokshasya. So this word Anasuyave is very confidential. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjun, because you're never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Yeah. So the word Anasuyave means non-envious. Yeah. Non-envious. That is the qualification in which actually one can receive transcendental knowledge, being non-envious. Srila Prabhupada explained, as a devotee hears more and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. This hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. Now this first verse has specific significance. The word idam jnanam, or this knowledge, refers to pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities described by Prahlad Maharaj. The 7 chapters start from hearing. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So regarding the word Anasuyave, the Sanskrit word Anasuyave in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are all envious of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad Gita very inaccurately because they are envious of Krishna. Their commentaries are useless. The commentaries given by devotees of Lord are bona fide. So here is the secret of hearing. Yeah? Being non-envious. Now, what does it mean being non-envious? Non-envious means we accept Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We accept His position. We accept Krishna Tattva as it is. This is the meaning of non-envious. Yeah. Of course, envious means when we try to especially nullify the existence of God. This is envious, like the Mayavadis. Therefore, Krishna will talk again about Mayavadis in this chapter. Yeah. He already talk about the Mayavadi in the 7th chapter, of course. Yeah. But here again, he will emphasize about the Mayavadi. So non-envious means we accept what Krishna says without giving our own mental speculation on what Krishna says. Yeah. Because as what Srila Prabhupada explained in his purport here, that even most erudite scholar, when they have this envious nature, so they would divert the meaning of the Bhagavad Gita itself, especially many of the commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita giving the impersonal conclusion. So this is the, as I mentioned in our last class, that as Srila Prabhupada explained, that's actually the last snare of Maya. So that is the biggest illusion. We try to nullify Krishna's existence. Yeah. So that is the first qualification. Foremost qualification in hearing is being non-envious, both to the topic and also both to the speaker. And Srila Prabhupada explained, we can get the realization, because this knowledge is a realized knowledge. We can get the realization, the essence of the knowledge, when we hear from a bona fide devotee. It is not simply the matter of hearing, but also what important here is that from whom we hear, we hear. Yat sangalabdham nijavirya vaibhavam tirtam muhu samsprisatam vimanasa. So when we are hearing in the association of the devotees, that will give us a perfection of life. Yat sangalabdham. So this word sangha means the association of devotees. Nijavirya vaibhavam tirtam muhu samsprisatam vimanasa. So when we hear the topic about Krishna, Krishna Katha in the association of devotees, the result actually surpass all the result of visiting holy places. Tirtha muhu. Muhu means again and again. 1,000 times you go to visit holy places, bathe in the holy rivers. Actually, hearing in the association of devotees, the result cannot be compared with those yatra. Samsprisatam himanasam haratya junta srutibir. Srutibir gato angajam. Ko vaina sevita mukunda vikram. Ko vaina sevita. Therefore, whose intelligent person will not hear the topic of Krishna Katha in the association of devotees? Ko vaina sevita means who is that personality who doesn't want, who will not hear the narration of Krishna Katha in the association of devotees if the result is such, like incomparable toward whatever pious activities that one may perform. So anasuyavi, being non-envious means being receptive. Being receptive. So this quote is from the surrender unto me. Yeah. So I'm taking this very important note here. So from text number 1, there are 3 essential points. So one becomes advanced in spiritual life by hearing about Krishna, by giving our oral reception. Yeah, Yashyam Vaishruyamanayam Krishna Parama Purushe Bhaktir Utpadyate Pumsam Soka Moha Bhayava. So Bhaktir Utpadyate Pumsam. So bhakti in the hearts of a person will automatically arise, yeah, when one hears the narration of Krishna on a regular basis. Yeah. And of course, this matter is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the second canto. Yeah, the second canto. It starts from by serving devotees, by serving the devotees. Shushrusho Shraddhadanasya Vasudeva Kataluti Shyan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtani Seva. So Shyan Mahat Seva. How we can develop this taste of hearing, yeah, and then how we can get the faith also on hearing, because non-envious means we have faith. We have faith to the topic. If you tell the non-devotees, oh, Krishna kills Putana when he just 10 days, would they believe? They will not believe that, because they have this envy of Krishna. They don't have Shraddha. Shushrusho Shraddha Danasya Vasudeva Katharuchi. How to get the Shraddha, how to get the faith, how to get the Ruchi, the taste, is Shyan Mahat Shevaya, by serving the devotees. Our heart will be cleansed. And then, of course, the 6 sequences verses continued by mentioning that, Srinvatam Swagata Krishna, that verse. Yeah. So first point is that by hearing, we can advance in Krishna consciousness. And then number two, one must be non-envious to hear properly. Yeah. And then number 3, one becomes free from material miseries when he hears properly and cultivate devotionals. So hearing is very potent. And then the effect is that when we hear non-enviously, when we hear with Shraddha, what happened, we'll be free from material pangs. That was Srila Prabhupada's explanation. One will be free from material pangs. Yatrin vato paityaratir vitishna satyam sudyatya chirena pumsha harau bhaktis tad purushe cha chakyam tadeva haram vadamane secha. This is described by Parikshit Maharaj, that we have this thirst of material hankering. Yatrin vato paityaratir vitrishna. So vitrishna means the thirst for material hankering. So naturally, when we have this thirst for material hankering, we are in every step, again and again, we are kicked by Maya, because we cannot really subdue this material thirst by material fulfillment. Yeah. Just like you try to satisfy fire by pouring more fuel, by giving more fuel, by pouring more ghee, for example, the fire will flame up more. Yeah. So this is the art, actually. You cannot satisfy your material desire by giving material fulfillment, because that desire will increase. Yeah. Yet Chirinvato Paityarati with Krishna. So when we hear again and again about Krishna Katha, that material thirst, first of all, will become reduced. Satyam Tashudyatya Chirena Pumsa. And then number 2, what happened? Our heart is purified. Shuddha will become purified. So bhakti harautad purushe chasakam, and bhakti will develop. When bhakti develops, then we become indifferent with both happiness and distress in terms of materially speaking. On the material platform, one becomes indifferent. That's how when a person can become equally disposed toward material happiness and distress. So he is considered to be liberated. Yeah. Liberated means not necessarily going back home, back to Godhead, but liberated means when one can become indifferent. Yeah, become indifferent from material happiness and distress, equally disposed, as Krishna explained in chapter 2. Yam hina vyachayante purusham purusharishapa samaduka sukam dhiram so amritatvaya kalpate. So samaduka sukha, you become equally disposed to happiness and distress. So amritatvaya. So for that person, liberation becomes his rightful claim. Yeah, already there. And then text number 2. Yeah, this is the very famous verse. Yeah. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshawagamam Dharmyam Sisukam Kartam Avya. This knowledge, king of education, most secret of all secret. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives a direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. So pratyaksha means the direct perception. Srila Prabhupada explains generally people are not educated in this confidential knowledge. They are educated in external knowledge. There are so many departments of knowledge all over the world and many huge universities. But there is unfortunately no university or educational institution where the science of the spirit soul is introduced. It is said that the execution of devotional service is so perfect that one can perceive the result directly. This direct result is actually perceived, and we have practical experience that any person who is chanting the holy names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, in course of chanting without offenses, feels some transcendental pleasure and very quickly becomes purified of all material contamination. This is actually seen. So Srila Prabhupada here talks about practical aspect of the chanting of the holy names. And like how his own disciples, his own Western disciples, yeah, they are all hippies. They're all hippies, but just by chanting the holy names, yeah, that purify their heart. Furthermore, if one engages not only in hearing, but in trying to broadcast the message of devotional activities as well, or if he engages himself in helping the missionary activities of Krishna consciousness, he gradually feels spiritual progress. So this is actually depicting, this statement depicting Srila Prabhupada's roots and mission. Yeah. Not only we eat the cake, but we should share the cake to others. So that's the principle here. Yeah. So yes, it's knowledge. It's very, very confidential. Devotional service to Krishna is very, very confidential. Yeah. And of course, Srila Prabhupada talked here about the Atma Tattva Gyan in the beginning of his purport, saying that there is no university in the world who teaches actually about the science of the soul. And furthermore, actually, devotional service start by accepting the holy name of Lord. Tanama Grahana Adibhi. Yeah. Tanama Grahana means to accept the holy names and start chanting the holy name. That's how devotional service starts. And Srila Prabhupada, interestingly, he talked here about offenseless chanting. most of our chanting may be still on the platform of Nama Parad. Yeah? Then where is the hope for us here? If Srila Prabhupada talks about offenseless chanting, means at least we have to raise our platform into uh, the middle platform, yeah, Namabhasha, Namabhasha platform. Because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, yeah, he explained actually the offensive chanting. The Nama Parad is actually can fulfill all our material desires. Now we have to be very careful when we hear this kind of explanation. We may get the allurement and we may think it's okay, I can continue my Nama Parad chanting. Yeah. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained that offensive chanting can actually, the result of offensive chanting can fulfill all our material desires. And then Namabhasha, yeah, Namabhasha can eradicate all the sinful reactions. And then the Sudanam, yeah, pure chanting, offenseless chanting, pure chanting will give the result of Krishna Prema. Yeah, Krishna Prema. So we have to be very careful here when we hear this kind of explanation. You know, in the Harinam Chintamani, it is quoted the verse from the Padma Purana regarding the offensive chanting, how one can gradually raise to the platform of Sudanam from Nama Parad. Yeah, the verse goes like this: Nama Parada Yuktanam Nama Neva Harantyagam Avisranti Prayuktani Tanyevartha Karanicha. So in the beginning stage, one may chant with a lot of offenses, yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's still giving us a hope because by continuously chanting, although offensively, one is gradually purified and will one day situated in the platform of pure chanting. So that is described in the Padma Purana. So when we reach the Prabhupada's purport, oh yeah, by offenses chanting. But who is doing that now? You know? Well, of course, the best time to chant is in the morning, early in the morning, because there is no distraction. Yeah. Therefore, as a devotees, our practice is that we wake up early in the morning and prioritize our sadhana, especially with the chanting, because when the sun rises, so many things going on. We have to go for work, this and that. But in the morning, you know, your mind is undisturbed. Well, sometimes it is disturbed, of course. The mind always disturbed. But the best hours to chant our rounds is early in the morning. Yeah. But then, that's giving us a hope actually in the chanting. By keeping chanting, uh, although offensively, but just continue chanting. So gradually, we have we get the taste on the chanting, and gradually we'll situate in the pure platform of chanting. So yeah, that's the secret of attaining pure chanting is by continuing chanting. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, it is not that we ourselves only hear or only chant, but we have to try to broadcast this message of devotional culture. One time in the morning walk, so of course Srila Prabhupada, he asked many times this kind of question. So what is the goal of human life? So in one morning walk, Srila Prabhupada was asking this question. So what is the purpose of human life? And of course, like those who already have morning walk with Srila Prabhupada try to tell others for the first time who never had a morning walk before, just keep silent, just zip your mouth like this. Because when you try to become like very philosophical, try to impress Srila Prabhupada with best answer could be from the Shastra. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada just smash by giving a very simple answer. Like one time Srila Prabhupada uh, was asked, like, Prabhupada, how to become humble? And you may give many shastric evidence, how to become humble. But Srila Prabhupada sometimes just give the answer, just be humble. That's it. How to become humble? Just be humble. So now Prabhupada is asking the devotees, so what is the purpose of human life? We may say that, oh, Jivasa Tattva Jigyasa Srila Prabhupada, to inquire about the absolute truth, to attain pure devotional service, this and that. But there was one devotee, one sannyas disciple, Srila Prabhupada, his name is Yashodanandan Swami. So he answered the question. Yeah. So he said that, Prabhupada, the purpose of human life is to save the whole jivas from these miseries, meaning to preach Krishna consciousness, to spread Krishna consciousness. And then other devotees was like, now let's see what Srila Prabhupada would say. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, thank you. And he just continued walking. So Srila Prabhupada was very pleased with that answer. Meanwhile, other devotees would expect, oh, Srila Prabhupada will smash this guy. But when he gives the answer to save all the jivas from this material suffering, Srila Prabhupada was so happy with that. And he said, yes, thank you. And then Prabhupada just continued walking. So yeah, that pleases Krishna even more when we preach Krishna consciousness. Therefore, in the 18th chapter, Krishna will say, Nachatasman manusyeshu kachin me priya krittama. So, priya krittama. There is no other person who is dear to me other than this person, that person who preach Krishna consciousness. So, devotional service is very, very confidential. Pratyaksha means direct perception. We can see the result directly. The saying of the heart is the result. So this purport is quite big. So be patient. As we'll be seeing in Bhagavad Gita, actual devotional service begins after liberation. After one is liberated, when one is situated in the Brahman position, Brahma Buddha, one's devotional service begins. Samasa Veshu Bhutesu Bhaktim Labhate Param. So I intentionally put this purport, part of Srila Prabhupada's purport here, because there are a lot of discussion. What is first? Liberation first or bhakti first? What comes first? So, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, bhakti starts after liberation. So we may think that, oh, all this time I don't perform bhakti then, because I'm not liberated. Because I'm not liberated. So all this time I never perform devotional service. Well, it's a very nice attitude when you think like that. We should always think like this, oh, I'm just aspiring devotees. I'm not even devotees. As Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, bhakti start after liberation. Mad bhaktim labhate param. Yeah, that verse from the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, Brahma Bhuta Prashanatma Na Sochati Na Kansati Sama Sarveshu Bhutesu Mad bhaktim labhate param. But here, liberation means actually, as I mentioned earlier, liberation means when sama sarveshu bhuteshu, when we equally disposed to all living entities. Yeah, no hankering and no lamentation. Yeah, na sochati, no hankering. Na sochati means no lamentation. Yeah? Na kangsati, no hankering. Prabhupada would explain that we always hanker for something that we don't have. And then lamentation comes when that thing that we get is lost. This is happening throughout our life. So liberation here means no material desire, no lamentation, material lamentation, and equally disposed to all living entities, because we see the soul. We don't see the body. We see the soul. So Brahma Buddha platform means liberation. Yeah. So bhakti start when we talk about real devotion. So real devotion start when our heart is free from material contamination, free from material desire. So that is bhakti. Yeah, pure devotional service. But actually, even if a person is not liberated yet, still he can start bhakti. Yeah, still he can start bhakti because bhakti is totally independent from any circumstances. If bhakti really start from liberation, then what are our qualifications? What are our qualifications? We are not qualified at all to perform bhakti, right? But this is the specialty of bhakti. Bhakti can start from any platform, especially in the age of Kali Yuga. That is the privilege. The more fallen you are, that is your qualification to start bhakti, because Lord Chaitanya gives the mercy to the fallen souls. Yeah. So of course, seeing this explanation, so actually both are actually interconnected between bhakti and liberation. Yeah. Liberation and then bhakti, or bhakti and then liberation. That goes hand in hand. Yeah. Because when one performs bhakti, automatically he is liberated. And real bhakti start when one attain liberation. Liberation means when one is free from material desire, material contamination. Yeah, on the Brahma Buddha platform. Okay, and then text number 3. Ashra dadana purusha dharma shishya parantapa aprapyamam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. So we have been talking about the qualification in hearing, and text number 3 talks about disqualification. Yeah, ashra dadana means no faith. Yeah? The qualification is anasuyavi, means being non-envious. Non-envious means we have shraddha, we have faith, both to the topic and also to the speaker. And this verse talks about the disqualification. Yeah, ashra dadana, having no faith, and the result is mrityu samsara vartmani. Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. The faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. That is the purport of this verse. Faith is created by association with devotees. Yeah. Now, the development of that faith is the process of Krishna consciousness. There are 3 divisions of Krishna conscious man. Interesting here. Yeah, Uttama, Madhyama, and Kanishta. This topic is actually vividly explained by Srila Prabhupada in the Upadhyaya Sprita, the Kanishta, Madhyama, and of course, faith is the main factor of determining in which platform we are situated. So Kanishta has very, very weak faith. Yeah, he is not knowledgeable in Shastra, and he has very weak faith. And Madhyama, he has very strong faith, very firm faith. Sometimes Madhyama devotee, they are not really expert in arguments. Yeah. Sometimes they are not very expert in arguments, giving evidences from Shastra, but they have firm faith. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada explained that immediately we have to raise our platform to the Madhyama level. Because as long as we still situated in the Kanishta platform, there is always chance to fall down, because Kanishta means you don't have firm faith. Yeah. Kanishta, not expert in Shastra, also not having firm faith. Madhyama, have firm faith. Yeah. Although sometimes the Madhyama not very expert in Shastra, not very knowledgeable, but he has firm faith. So that will keep him safe, guaranteed his position of not falling down. And then, of course, the Uttama, having firm faith and also knowledge in Shastra. Kanishta, Srila Prabhupada explained, those who have no faith, even if they are officially engaged in the devotional service, they cannot achieve the highest perfectional stage. Most probably they will slip after some time. They may become engaged, but because they haven't complete conviction and faith, it is very difficult for them to continue in Krishna consciousness. Interestingly, Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, one may directly in devotional service. What does it mean? Even after being in ISKCON, for example, in Krishna consciousness for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, even 40 years, 50 years, one may sometimes having the Kanishta mentality. One may sometimes having the Kanishta mentality. What is Kanishta mentality? Archayam eva haraye pujam yasradhaye hate natad bhaktesu chanyesu sabhakta prakritasmi. So one may worship the deities in the temple. Yeah, second initiated devotee worship the deities in the temple. Yeah, Archayam eva haraye pujam yasradhaye hate. With full faith. With full faith, one may worship the deities, but if he doesn't have respect to the devotees of the Lord, yeah, then he is considered to be Prakrita Bhakta or Kanishthadika. So simply having faith in worshipping the deities, but not respecting the devotees, then that is Kanishta mentality. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, directly engaged, officially engaged. Srila Prabhupada said, officially engaged in devotional service. And then Madhyama, Srila Prabhupada comment, those who are not very advanced in understanding devotional scriptures, but who automatically have firm faith that Krishna Bhakti or service to Krishna is the best course, and so in good faith have taken it up. Thus, they are superior to the third class, who have neither perfect knowledge of scriptures nor good faith, but by associating and simplicity are trying to follow. Okay? And then the Uttama, as far as the development of faith is concerned, one is well versed in the literatures of devotional service and has attained the stage of firm faith is called a first-class person in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So as simple as that. Yeah. To determine, especially our position. Yeah, especially our position, whether we are Kanishta, Madhyama, or Uttama. But of course, it's always good to always consider ourselves to be Kanishta. But don't possess the Kanishta mentality. Yeah. Offending other devotees. This is Kanishta mentality. Okay? Srila Prabhupada's lecture. He mentioned, if you go to a teacher to learn A, B, C, D, the teacher says, my dear child, you begin from the left side in this way. Then if the student says, why shall I begin in this way? I shall begin this way. Then he is faithless. He cannot make any progress. It is not possible. The first qualification is Radha faithful. If you go to a teacher, you must be faithful. Otherwise, there is no need of going to a teacher. If you cannot believe in the words of somebody whom you are going to appoint as your teacher, if you have no faith in these words, in his words, then what is the use of going to such teacher? There's no use. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining here about Shraddha, faith. Yeah. So that is the importance of hearing, and then the qualification and disqualification. The qualification is anasuya way, being non-envious, yeah, being receptive, having faith. This is non-envious. And then the disqualification is ashrada. Yeah. Because the result is that mrityu samsara vartman. One will fall down again, will come again to this material world, cannot be delivered if you have no faith. Just like Srila Prabhupada explained, if you approach somebody, just like you're sick, you go to a doctor and doctor give you prescription. If you don't have to that prescription, you don't have faith to that prescription. So you will say that, I will not take this medicine. Then how you will become cured from your disease? Then what is the use of approaching a doctor? So when you approach a doctor, you have to have firm faith on his word, the doctor's word. Yes, giving you medicine, this medicine should be taken like this 3 times a day, for example. Right? And you have to refrain yourself from eating this, eating that. Yeah. One time I got sick, and then I went to an Ayurvedic doctor. And then, of course, he checked my pulse, this and that. And then he told me, well, Prabhu, from today onward, stop eating potato, stop eating eggplant, stop eating tomato. I said, what? I said, what? Prabhu, are you kidding me? He said, no, this is giving you so much trouble. I said, well, I love to eat potato. Eggplant is okay, I can give up, but I love to eat potato. What can I say? And doctor said, if you want to be cured, you follow my word. Otherwise, what is the use of you approaching? I said, oh. Then I tried to, training myself to eat potatoes. And he told me, you have to drink lemon water, but no sugar. Only lemon water early in the morning, empty stomach. And I hate to do that. But what can I do? I have to do that because I was so sick. So I have to follow his word. So this is faith. Faith means you follow the word of the speaker. Otherwise, there is no use of approaching the Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, there is no use of approaching the spiritual master if you don't have faith. So faith to the Bhagavad Gita means faith to the speaker, faith to Krishna. Yeah. You don't interpret giving your mental speculation on the Bhagavad Gita. You have faith to Krishna's word, you have faith to the Acharya's word. That's it. As simple as that. Yeah. That is the qualification, and the disqualification is having no faith. Okay. All right. Before we continue to Aishwarya, Gyan that will be explained by Krishna, describing about his relationship with this material world. Yes, now do it, Sachi Mataji. Question or comments, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. It just occurred to me that I've not been paying attention to the shlokas, but I have a question for you since you're so well versed in the Shastra. Does the Lord use the word Shraddha for Jnana Yoga or Dhyana Yoga?
Does the Lord use the word Shraddha?
Yes. Does faith apply even to other rungs of the yoga ladder, or it's exclusively reserved for Bhakti Yoga?
Yeah. That's interesting question. Thank you so much. Shraddha. Well, as we found in the 7th chapter, Krishna says that even he gives the Shraddha, the faith, to the demigod worshippers. Yeah. Even he gives the Shraddha, the faith, to demigod worshippers. Because that will help a certain level of people to advance gradually in Krishna consciousness. So what about those who are situated on the lower rank in the yoga ladder? Yeah, does Krishna also give faith? Yes, he gives the faith. Because with that faith, actually, one will gradually raise to the higher platform with that faith. because that practice will always give some result. Of course, for us, we are devotees, we know what is what. Devotional service is the best. Uh, Hopefully, that now we are already situated in the topmost platform in terms of yoga ladder. But for those who not yet situated in Bhakti Yoga or in Buddhi Yoga, Srila Prabhupada sometimes he refers Buddhi Yoga as Bhakti Yoga. Niskama karma is pure devotional service because you don't have material desire. The result you just give to Krishna, Niskama. Yeah. But what about the jnana or other person who is still situated in the lower platform in the yoga ladder? Yes, Krishna gives faith even to the demigod worshippers. Yeah. It's not like karma kanda. Demigod worshippers are karma kandis. It start from karma kanda and then karma yoga and then jnana. And then as Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained, when karma and jnana combine together, that becomes Buddhi yoga. So yes, Krishna gives the faith even to the demigod worshippers. Because as Srila Prabhupada explained in the 7th chapter, how these demigod worshippers get purified and uh, elevated to the higher platform, because when you worship the demigods, there are some Vedic mantras that you chant, and all these Vedic mantras start from the word Om. This A-U-M, this Om, is actually represent Krishna, although in his impersonal aspect. Although in his impersonal aspect, and yes, Krishna gives the faith. That's why Krishna says that it just misdirected surrender, misplaced surrender. They want to worship God because they don't have enough knowledge at the moment who is the supreme God. Therefore, they worship the demigod. But at least they have the sentiment, at least they have the understanding, yes, there is a higher being that I have to worship. Yeah. So like this. And then for those who are Mayavadis, of course, Mayavadis is worse. But there is Srila Prabhupada explanation saying that if they are sincere, when the Mayavadis are sincere, they will gradually attain this platform of Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Yeah. Therefore, that verse, Bahunam Janmanam Ante verse, talks about the Mayavadis. Yeah. After many, many lifetimes, millions of lifetimes, if they are sincere in pursuing about the absolute truth, they will come to the understanding of Vasudeva Sarvam Iti, the Bhagavan aspect of it. Yeah. So yes, Krishna gives faith also.
Thank you, Prabhu. The only thing is that faith could be shaken easily until and unless you're practicing Bhakti Yoga and come to the Madhyama platform.
Yeah, that is there. It's kind of this word Shraddha or faith is kind of in the relative position, depending on from which angle we see it, from which angle we discuss that. When we talk about devotional service, of course, when we talk about faith in devotional service, this Madhyama, Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama come to the picture automatically. But when we talk from different angle on the broader aspect of just simply the word faith, yes, that can be applied for any other discussion. Yeah. But specifically when we talk about these three types of devotees, and as far as faith is concerned, that is the explanation. Yeah, Kanishta have no faith. I mean, have very weak faith. Madhyama have firm faith. Uttama have very, very firm faith.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. So now we will continue our discussion. Text 4 to 10. Yeah, Krishna's inconceivable relationship with the material world. Krishna pervades, creates, and annihilates the entire cosmos through his material energy. Although Krishna is the supreme controller, the material world nevertheless moves independently, and Krishna does remain neutral and detached. So therefore, one of Krishna's name is Adhok Saja. Yeah. Adhok Saja means he cannot be perceived by material senses. Adhok Saja means also the mysterious Lord. His, his tattva is mysterious, not very easily to be understood. Yeah. Through our material senses, we cannot understand. Okay. Text number 4. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakthamurtina matstani sarvabhutani nachaham tesu avasita. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I'm not in them. Srila Prabhupada's explanation. Here it is said that although he is all pervading, everywhere present, he is not conceivable by material senses. This is indicated here by the word avyakta murtina. But actually, although we cannot see him, everything is resting in him, as we have discussed in the 7th chapter. So this avyakta murtina, avyakta. Yeah, avyakta means unmanifested form. Unmanifested form means unmanifest from our material eyes. Of course, the Lord has form. Srila Prabhupada gives the analogy as a king. A king heads a government, which is but the manifestation of the king's energy. The different governmental departments are nothing but the energies of the king, and each department is resting on the king's power. But still, one cannot expect the king to be present in every department personally. Yeah. So Krishna creates and Krishna maintains and annihilates this material world through his energy, yeah, through his expansion, through his energies, yeah, through his potency. Sometimes he doesn't have to be present personally, yeah, just like a king, as Srila Prabhupada explained here, just like a king, you know, just by his will, actually, he can create. And of course, Krishna mentioned here, he pervades in every aspect of his creation, but at the same time, he remained aloof. So from material point of view, how to understand this statement? Yeah, he's in touch with the material nature, but at the same time, he's aloof. That's very confusing. Yeah, Goloka eva nivasatya kilat mabuto. He's always in Goloka Vrindavan. Yet at the same time, he's present here. So now the explanation is like this. When he's in touch, when he creates, he maintains, he annihilates, that means he's involved with this material creation, destruction, maintenance, and so on. He's involved. But at the same time, he said that he's aloof. What does it mean? He remains in Goloka Vrindavan enjoying the eternal pastime with his devotees. But when he does the work of creation, he's not directly involved. Only his energy is involved. Yeah. He remained there. He sit there in Goloka Vrindavan. So he doesn't really involve with the material creation. But uh, yet, at the same time, we have to understand that he and his energies are on the absolute platform. On the absolute platform, that means he's also involved. He enters every atom. He enters every heart of the living entity as the Paramatma. So he's directly in touch with us. But at the same time, he's not in touch with us. So this is the Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. Yeah. He's involved with the material creation, but he said that uh, he's remained aloof. He remains in the spiritual world. So it seems there is a contradiction here in this word. That's how he's adoksaja. He's inconceivable through our material senses. Yeah, through our material senses. So yeah, this aspect is very interesting aspect. Unless we are devotees, We cannot accept this fact. If you try to explain to the non-devotees how Krishna, how Parashuram, and how Vyasadeva present at the same time, at the same place, yeah, during the Mahabharata time. Yeah. Parashuram is Bhishmadev's spiritual master. Yeah, he present. Parashuram. And Vyasadeva is Krishna's incarnation. And Krishna himself present there. If you explain, if you tell the non-devotees, these three persons, these three people are God, the same God, they will laugh. They will not understand this. But we as devotees, we believe that because Krishna can expand himself into many copies that he wants. What speak about three? 16,108 and unlimited form. He can do it. Why not? Yeah. So this is the difference. Devotees and the non-devotees. We as devotees, we understand this tattva. Yeah. The non-devotees will laugh when you tell this. Krishna, Parashuram, and Vyasadeva, they are the same person. They appear in the same place and the same time. The non-devotees will not believe this. Yeah. But we understand the tattva. So similarly, when we say, when Krishna say, he is involved at the same time he doesn't involve. He creates, he maintains, he annihilates, but at the same time he remains aloof. So that is the understanding, because he is God. He can do whatever he wants through his energies, through his potency. So he does the job of creation. All right, there are a few questions here in the chat section. First one, Hare Krishna Prabhu, how do we know if we are Kanishta or Madhyama, although we desire at least to be in Madhyama level? Do we necessarily have to know the level we are in, or it should be left to senior devotees? Yeah. Well, how do we know that we are Kanishta or Madhyama? By assessing ourselves. Yeah. If we're still committing offenses against the Vaishnava, we are in the Kanishta platform. Disrespecting Vaishnava, we are in the Kanishta platform. And then is it really necessary to know whether we are in Kanishta or Madhyama? First of all, as I mentioned, it is always good to have the sentiment that we are Kanishta. But of course, we should raise our platform Madhyama. Yeah, what is the Madhyama platform? Is when we have firm faith. Firm faith means we have faith that yes, this process is the only process that I have catch on, because the Kanishta, as soon as they get disappointed, they may leave the movement. But the Madhyama, doesn't matter what, they will not leave the movement. And then another part of your question is that, or just let senior devotees will determine. Well, that's not really important things, But the thing is that how we keep up our practice, that we have to be very careful, especially in dealing with other devotees, not to offend them. So that's matter. Yeah. That's matter. So through assessment, by assessing ourselves. Till this day, I still envious of other devotees, because we have this nature, we love to pull down a devotee's back, unfortunately. So if we still have that mentality, yes, I'm a Kanishta. Yes, I'm a Kanishta. But is it very important to know whether we are still Kanishta or Madhyama? Well, not really important, I would say. Not really important. But the most important thing is that how we keep up with our practice. How we keep up with our practice. That's more important than just knowing that. What if you know if you are a Madhyama, or if you know you are an Uttama? Then your false ego will rise, and that will bring you back to Kanishta. Better to always think that yes, I'm a Kanishta, and I striving to be a better devotee, because even an Uttama Adhikari will always think that yes, others are devotees except me. That is the mentality of Uttama Adhikari. Yes, Aparimitapati Mataji, Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dhanvatmana. Prabhuji, your point here to feel or in a mood of Kanishta Adhikari so that we can improve in our bhakti.
Mm,
And previously also we discussed in 1.4 maybe 9.1 uh, after liberation only we can come to bhakti,
mm,
and unless until we are doing offensive chanting, so there is no hope, though those process of chanting will make us improve. Prabhuji, I just want, yeah, sorry, I just want to know how can we improve chanting. And to be honest, if at all we are not able to do chanting, chant in the morning as the days goes, it's
mm,
fact that mind goes everywhere. It's not fixing, and all those here and there, everything comes to mind. And of
mm,
course, it's offensive chanting, and it's not possible also finish round in the morning, especially for me. So how can we
mm.
balance? Even I'm praying, God gave me some intelligence so that I
Right.
can, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that's a nice question. That's a practical aspect of question. Yeah, how do we improve our chanting? Yeah, because chanting itself is giving us a hope to raise our platform, to become a better devotees, from offensive to offenseless, and then Shuddhanam, pure chanting. Then not every time, not every devotee can finish up their 16 prescribed rounds early in the morning. And what to do? Yeah, I mean, of course, when we talk about ideal or a best thing to do is that, of course, to chant our rounds entirely in the morning. But if you can't, so somehow or other you have to finish your rounds, and try to be attentive. Yeah, try to be attentive in your chanting. Because when we understand the principle that yes, we have to be very attentive. We have to listen every word that comes out from our mouth. Yeah. When we have the understanding of this principle, so actually it doesn't matter whether you chant in the morning, you chant in the afternoon, you chant at night. When we understand this principle, you will become very attentive in your chanting. But the problem is that the three modes of material nature will always affect the time during the day. You know, when the sun rises, it becomes more passionate activities going on. And then when the sun setting, so the body naturally follow, and we like become sleepy, this and that. But if you understand the principle that I must chant attentively. So it doesn't matter morning, afternoon, or evening at night, no problem. But of course, Sattva Gun influence the morning hours. That's why morning hours is the best time to chant. But if you cannot chant your round completely in the morning, then somehow or other you have to finish it. But with the note that try to be more attentive, yeah, more
Yeah,
attentive,
so
because we have this tendency, sorry, we have this nature of becoming inattentive in our chanting, and also it's just becoming mechanical. The only
mechanically.
concern that we have now is the number, the 16. You know, by hook or crook, before I sleep at night, I have to finish this 16 rounds. I mean, that's okay, but if you keep doing it for years and years, then advancement will become very, very slow. Yeah, but that's always purifying. Chanting is, there's no loss in chanting. So, how to become a better devotee? As you mentioned, yes, you already did the right one. The right way is to pray to Krishna. Yeah, Krishna will give you intelligence. Krishna will give you the sincerity to finish up your rounds and become a better devotee, to pray, and especially to get the association with those who are sincere, with those who very enthusiastic in their service. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Like in a way, no matter what is the time, like we have to in a mode of goodness, or kind of, no, we should overcome or dominate. Our sattva guna should be dominating over the mode of any mode, with respect to time. Mm. But it's difficult, Prabhuji. Difficult maybe. It takes a long time to realize and implement.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Well, yeah, it is. Thank you. It is this process is gradual process. It is not an overnight process. Now you are chanting and suddenly you become pure devotee.
Yeah.
It is a gradual process. There is one devotee here, Srila Prabhupada's disciple. His name is Kripanidhi Prabhu. He's from Canada. He's very senior devotee. He's very enthusiastic in Harinam and in Sankirtan, distributing Srila Prabhupada's book. He told me his pastime with Srila Prabhupada. So when he was a young boy, like 20, 22, 23 years old boy, he became the Sankirtan leader in Canada. And then he was always like, he's enthusiastic himself, and he tried to encourage other devotees, but he always screamed, he always screamed like, hey, you have to go out every day, you have to go out 6 hours, 8 hours minimum to distribute Prabhupada's book. And then the devotees, of course, like sometimes not all the devotees get his mood, and take it differently. And then when Srila Prabhupada came, he was reported that, oh, Srila Prabhupada, this devotee is too harsh, forcing too much. And then Srila Prabhupada called him, and Prabhupada told him that this process is a gradual process. So you may sometimes need to keep up with your pace, but once in a while you have to giving a little bit force, I would say giving a little bit force in order to, advance. You have to sacrifice something. No pain, no gain. You have to sacrifice something. But keep in mind that this is a gradual process and there is a scope and hope for everybody. Yeah. The main thing actually association. The main thing is association. As Srila Prabhupada mentioned, Shraddha is created by association with a person who has Shraddha. If you just go to the temple and you see somebody who's serving so enthusiastically, for example, like making garlands or cleaning the floor very enthusiastically, your heart will be moved by the service attitude of that devotee, and you will develop the desire to serve like how that devotee served. So association is important. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Another question here in the chat. How to become non-envious? What will make us non-envious? Please help. Oh, this is the $1,000,000 question. Yeah. How to become non-envious? Again, this is a matter of association. How to become non-envious? Matter of association. Because envy or dvesha is actually a disease. A disease. Yeah, matsarya is also envious. Being envious is one of the 6 anarthas in our heart. How to become non-envious is by associating ourselves with those who are not envious. Means associating with the devotees. What is the symptom of a non-devotees? Icha dvesa samutena dvandva mohena bhara. So they have this icha, material desire, and dvesa, envious. Then how to become free from envy is by engaging ourselves in devotional service and also associating ourselves with the devotees of Lord because they are non-envious. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada gives the example many, many times. He mentioned just like an iron rod. If you touch this iron rod with fire, so it will possess the same quality as fire. which is burning. So if we associate ourselves with the non-envious person, we also will develop that quality of being non-envious. Because service is actually purifying our heart. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. When we continuously serving in the association of devotees, so that's how the envious nature in our heart will be subdued. Yeah. Advesta sarva bhutana maitra karuna eva. That is desired by Krishna. Yeah. Advesta, the first thing he mentioned is advesta, being non-envious. To whom? Sarva bhutana, to all living entities. Yeah. Therefore, there is an English saying that tell me who is your friend, and then I will tell you who are you. Yeah, if you associate with, for example, if you associate with a drunkard, you will become a drunkard yourself. If you associate with a person who smokes cigarette, you will become smoker. Anybody you ask, any person who smokes cigarette, if you ask, what is your experience when the first time you smoke? They will tell you it's not so pleasing. They cough so much because of this smoke. They cough. But seeing his friend looking cool, smoke comes out. Sometimes they just make some round figure out of that smoke. It looks cool. Yeah, it looks cool. And then their friend just enthused them to smoke more, and he becomes get used to smoke, and he becomes naturally a smoker. Yeah. So just like that, association giving big impact. How to become non-envious? By associating with devotee who is not envious to the Lord, who is not envious to all living entities. If we see like Narakasur, who is Narakasur? He's the son of Bhumi Devi and Lord Varahadev. But how he become a demon? He becomes a demon through bad association. Yeah, through bad association. He's the son of the Lord himself. Become a great demon just by associating with demon. That's it. Okay. So association will help us a lot. And then the next question in the chat section from Ram Krishna Prabhu. In 9.4, Lord Krishna says, I'm not in them. But in earlier chapter, we saw a devotee sees Krishna in everything and everything in Krishna. Are they not contradictory? Yes, Krishna is a contradictory person. He steals the gopis' clothes, yet he speaks Bhagavad Gita now. That's why I mentioned earlier, before we enter this section, that Krishna is Adoksaja. We cannot understand him through these material senses. Yeah. We cannot understand Krishna through material senses. If Krishna is not in them, but at the same time, in the earlier chapter, we see that Krishna is everything and everything is in him. Yeah. Yomam pasyati sarvatra sarvam chamayi pasyati. Yomam pasyati sarvatra. We see Krishna everywhere. Sarvam chamayi pasyati. And everything is in Krishna. But here, Krishna says that Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavayaktamurtina mastani sarva bhutani na cha aham. Krishna says, na cha aham. I'm not in them. So that is his position. His inconceivable position. He's in the spiritual world, eternally there. He's in the spiritual world, enjoying rasas with his devotees, eternally there. That means what? He's not in the material world, right? Because he's eternally there. But when he said that he pervades in everything, that means his energy is pervading everything. So the Paramatma is the partial of his plenary portions, his energy. So if you want to say Krishna is not in the material creation, he is not. But if you want to say Krishna is in material creation, yes, he is, through his energy. It is contradictory. Yes, spiritually contradictory. And are you bewildered? You should be bewildered. Otherwise, he's not God. God is not very cheap to be understood. I remember when I studied the Bhakti Bible, in the beginning of our class, our teacher told us that keep in mind the purpose of why we're studying this matter of creation is to understand, to conclude at the end of our session that we will never understand about creation. Huh? I was like, what? The purpose of our study today is to understand that we will not be understand about creation. You got my point? The purpose of studying creation to understand that it is very intricate, that you cannot understand about it. You know, by your brain intelligence, you cannot understand the intricacies of Krishna's creation. The only way how to understand Krishna is by developing your love to Krishna through bhakti. The more you have this bhakti to Krishna, he will reveal himself automatically. That is the secret. We can have discussion on this, for millions of lifetimes. And we still will not be able to understand Krishna's position. No, naham atma pravachanena labhyo namedayana bahuna srutena. You cannot understand Krishna, but by developing love for him through devotional service. Therefore, let's say how many devotees here with us? Let's say like 30 devotees. 30 devotees. We read the same book. We study the same book. But each devotee has different understanding. Yeah. Different level of understanding because Krishna revealed himself differently to different people. Yeah. That is the secret of understanding Krishna. The secret is that you can't understand Krishna unless you have bhakti. That's it. Because this Bhagavad Gita, this spiritual philosophy, transcendental subject matter, can be understood only when Krishna wants us to understand it. Yeah. Okay? We leave aside that topic. I think that's like consuming so much time. Now we just up to text number 4. We have a long way to go. All right. Still in the Ashwarya aspect of the Lord. Yeah. His inconceivable relationship with this material creation. And yet, text number 5, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Yeah. Behold my mystic option. Krishna mentioned here is yoga Aishwarya, mystic option. Although I'm the maintainer of all living entities, and although I'm everywhere, I'm not a part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. Yeah, Yogam Aishwarya means inconceivable mystic power. So inconceivable means inconceivable by inconceivable to our material senses. Yeah. The Lord says that everything is resting on Him, Mastani Sarvabhutani. This should not be misunderstood. The Lord is not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of this material manifestation. Sometimes we see a picture of Atlas holding the globe on his shoulders. He seems to be very tired holding this great earthly planet. Such an image should not be entertained in connection with Krishna's upholding this created universe. He says that although everything is resting on him, he is aloof. The Lord explained this fact. Although he is the maintainer and sustainer of the entire material manifestation, he does not touch this material manifestation simply by his supreme will. everything is created, everything is sustained, everything is maintained, and everything is annihilated. See, simply by his desire, simply by his potency, his energies. Yeah, he does this creation, maintenance, and annihilation. But at the same time, he remained aloof because everything is performed through his energy. Yeah, but we have to understand again, his energy is not different from. When we say that Krishna is maintaining, he is not actually fatigued. How do we maintain, for example, like a father or a husband maintaining his family members, working so hard? But that's not the case in Krishna. Yeah, that's not the case in Krishna. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada would give the example of a fish, or not a fish, of a tortoise. Yeah, of a tortoise. A tortoise lay eggs on the sand. Yeah, and then the mother tortoise just go inside the sea, just through her meditation. The egg later would, um, how to say this, hatch, will hatch, and then the baby tortoise just go to the sea. So, but inside the sea, the mother tortoise keep meditating on her eggs. So she is completely aloof. Yeah. So Prabhupada gives that example. So that is Krishna's position. Yeah. Through his Yogam Aishwaryam, inconceivable mystic power. Text number 6. Understand that as the mighty wind everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest. Purport. Although the wind is great, it is still situated within the sky. The wind is not beyond the sky. Similarly, all the wonderful cosmic manifestations are existing by the supreme will of God, and all of them are subordinate to that supreme will. As we generally say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the supreme personality of Godhead. Yeah. So like this, Krishna gives the example, just like the wind, blowing everywhere, but still the wind is within the sky. Within the sky. That means the wind is not at all independent from the sky. So similarly, all this material cosmic manifestation moves in its own orbits. We say that's orbit. That orbit is actually Krishna's energy, Krishna's potency. And how the planets move, it's all controlled by Krishna. Yeah, controlled by Krishna through his energy. We can't see this. If you hang a balls, many balls, and you rotate like this, a thread is Krishna's energy where the balls are hanging. So we can't see that through our material senses. Yeah. Na bhavet grahyam indriyahi. That's the secret. Na bhavet grahyam indriyahi. Material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's energy. And text 7 and 8. O son of Kunti, at the end of millennium, all material manifestation enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. The whole cosmic the whole cosmic order is under me, under my will. It is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will, it is annihilated at the end. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada explained in his purport about the material energy or pradhan, yeah, the Mahat Tattva, the ingredients of creation. Yeah. And then from this Mahat Tattva, so when the Purusa incarnation appear, so Lord Mahavishnu creates. Yeah. And then Srila Prabhupada continued, the activities of different species of living beings are begun from the very moment of creation, of the creation. It is not at all, it is not that all is involved. The different species of life are created immediately along with the universe. Man, animals, beasts, birds, everything is simultaneously created because whatever desires the living entities had at the last annihilation are again manifested. So this Darwin theory of evolution is actually completely wrong here. Yeah? Because as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, that Krishna creates all species at the time in the beginning of creation. All. It's actually easy to defeat Darwin's theory of evolution. If really man comes from monkey, then why we still find monkey now? Why not all those monkeys transform into human? That's the logic. Yeah. Why we still find the monkey in the forest? Yeah. Because Krishna creates all types of species. Yeah. Jalajana Lakshani, Stavaram Lakshavim Sati, all this life. In total, there are 8,400,000 species of life. Yeah. There are 8,400,000 types, not the whole amount, but just the types. Why this number? I would like to ask you, all of you here, why specifically about this number? 8,400,000 species of life. Why there are 8,400,000? Why this number? Have you ever wondered? Have you ever wondered about this?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Is it basing on our desires, Prabhu?
Yeah, that's true. One time, one devotee was asking His Grace Janani was Prabhu here in Mayapur in a class, and he gave a class. Why specifically about this number, 8,400,000? So yeah, exactly. The answer is that because there are 8,400,000 desires. That's it. Yeah. Text number 9. O Dhananjay, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. Yeah. Udasinavat means neutral. Krishna is not bound by his creation. The Lord is always neutral in the material activities of created world. This neutrality is mentioned here with the word Udasinavat. Although he has control over every minute detail of material activities, he is sitting as if neutral. Yeah, the example can be given of a high court judge sitting on his bench. By his orders, so many things are happening. Someone is being hanged, someone is being put into jail, someone is awarded a huge amount of wealth, but still he is neutral. He has nothing to do with all that gain or loss. So this is Krishna's position, just like a high court judge. He is neutral. He is not bind. So another explanation is just like a spider. A spider creates its web, but when a spider steps on its web, it is not bound. But when there is a fly just hit the spider's web, immediately get entangled. So this is the difference between Krishna, the creator, and the jiva. So Krishna creates this material world. When Krishna descends, is not bound. But when the jiva, as soon as the jiva enters the material creation, immediately affected by the three modes of mental nature, and we become bound. We become conditioned. So the spider creates the spider's web. Who will not get entangled? The spiders. And who else will not get entangled? The baby spiders. So if we just become a good son of the Lord or a good daughter of the Lord, we will not be bound in this spider's web of material creation. As simple as that to understand the intricacy of being entangled. If we just become Krishna's baby spider, yeah, we'll not be entangled in the spider's web. So the jivas will get entangled. But if we become obedient, we'll not be entangled. Mam evaye prapadyante mayamitam tarante. That's the key word, key point. And then text number 10, the last verse for the Ashwarya Gyan by Krishna here. Yeah, Maya Dhyakshena Prakriti Suyati Sacharacha Etunanena Kontya Jagad Vipari Uartate. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. You see, Krishna again here mentioned about material creation is working under his direction. But the previous verse, Krishna says that he just sit there as if he's neutral. That means he's not doing anything, not even giving direction. But here, Krishna is mentioning under his energy, through his energy, he gives direction. That's how all the manifestation of this material world moved. Yeah. And then it created again and again. Yeah. That means Krishna is also involved here. Therefore, we are confused here between the two, whether Krishna involved or he's not involved. He's both. So the Lord is not directly attached to this material creation. He simply glances over material creation. Over material nature. Material nature is thus activated and everything is created immediately. Because he glances over material nature, there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Lord. You see, Prabhupada explained here. There is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Lord, but it has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. So directly, he is not involved because he involved through his energy. Okay? Prabhupada gave the analogy, when there is a fragrant flower before someone, the fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person. Yet the smelling and the flower are detached from one another. See, the flower and the nose is not at all connected, but through that fragrance, the nose gets the idea what kind of flower is it. So that's how Srila Prabhupada tried to explain that actually Krishna is involved at the same time, is not at all directly involved. In summary, material nature without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot do anything, yet the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yet the Supreme Personality is detached from all material activities. It is Krishna who has entered this material world and he is supervising all the actions and reactions of this material world. Therefore, it is moving Maya Dyakshena Prakriti. Adyaksha means through his supervision. Yeah. Maya Dyakshena Prakriti. Prakriti has no power. These rascals, foolish person, they are thinking that the Prakriti is working automatically. No, that is not possible. Prakriti is Jada. Jada Prakriti. Jada Prakriti without any sense. The motor car has got the wheels, the machine, everything, but it has no sense. So unless there is a sensible driver there, it cannot move. Very plain truth. Anyone can understand. So that is the explanation. Yeah. That, of course, with our mundane interpretation, mundane brain, we cannot understand Krishna's position. Yeah. But because he is God, because he is God, he can do this. He creates, yet he remains aloof. Yeah. Okay, we have 15 minutes left. I'm not sure we can cover the next topic of discussion from text 11 to 19. So, whether any questions or comments, please.
Hare Krishna
All right.
Prabhuji.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
I
Madhuri,
have one
please.
compliment or we can say comments. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for getting all those Prabhupada's pastimes relating with real-time stories. In a way, you mentioned more hearing, more association, or maybe connecting with good devotees. I forgot the typical word you mentioned. So you are getting that mood in this class, always getting Prabhupada's pastime. Uh, so I feel personally getting more connected with all your non-narrations. And yeah, Prabhupada's pastime. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I will stop here for today, and we'll see all of you again on Wednesday, hopefully. Yeah. So yeah, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna. Please